Finally, I've got another mid-drive e-bike, and a lot of you do like this style because you still get the benefit of those gears there, and they tend to be a little bit lighter, but been quite torquey too. So this bike is from Eskute. It's called the Polluno Pro, and it has a Bafang M200 mid-drive motor. This is 250 watts, so it's legal here in Europe. Maximum speed's 25 kilometers per hour, and it does deliver up to 65 Newton meters of torque, which is very good considering it's 250 watts. We've got 9 speed with this, the gears, hydraulic disc brakes that are 160 millimeter, and the step-through design means it's very comfortable to get on and off. And this style of bike, having the 700C wheels or 28-inch size wheels, is very comfortable with an upright riding position, and you can get great distances too out of it because it's removable, locked into place too, by the way. Battery here is 20 amp hours, and it is a Samsung cell battery, so using quality cells there, and it'll give us a range of up to 120 kilometers or around about 80 miles, which I'll be putting to the test in this review. Very few of the brands that I cover do this. They use a brand name of shock. So the front shock here, this is an easing. It's the Forgo. It's got 40 millimeters of travel. You have adjustable preload. It can be locked out completely. And overall, it's a decent shock. It doesn't make clanking noises. There's no rattles. The mudguards, these are made out of plastic. They don't rattle either. In fact, there's no rattles coming from the bike at all. The front headlight is hardwired. It does have a reflector below it, you can see there. Now, it's not particularly bright. It's certainly not the brightest I've reviewed. It's okay, the kind of coverage it does give us, so better than nothing for nighttime riding. The rear tail light is the same. It's mostly a reflector, the lower half of it, and it's not hardwired. There's a battery inside it. There's a little switch you need to flick, and that turns on just this single little LED at the back. Now, don't get me wrong here, it is better than nothing. I just wish it was a little brighter, and it would also be nice if it was hardwired, like the front headlight. The bike rack is quite sturdy, good welds to it, just like the frame of the bike, and it's got a load capacity of 25 kilos. The seat is wide, it's comfortable, decent amount of sponge to it, and there is a quick release here for our seat post. Now, rider heights it caters to this bike, 160 centimeters up to 200 centimeters in height. The Polluno Pro uses hydraulic disc brakes. They are 160 millimeters, and a brand that I've not heard of before, Camros. They do a decent job, and braking performance is good. You'll see this later on in my braking test portion of this review. The front hub and the rear are both using quick release, which is unusual with these bikes that I commonly review. Normally it's just the front, if you're lucky. The tires are from Kenda, road tires, the tread pattern as you can see, directional, and they are very smooth and quiet on the road. Speaking of quiet, the mid-drive Bafang M200 motor is really quiet. So it's 250 watts, I barely hear it, just in climbs, and outputs 65 Newton meters of torque. The Polluno Pro's kickstand is sturdy. I've seen this model before. It supports the weight of the bike, which is 27 kilos. No problem whatsoever. And a little hard to see, but right here, there is a speed sensor. So the mid-drive motor from Bafang has a built-in torque sensor, but we also have the speed sensor here too. So it uses both of those systems, and the power delivery is very smooth. Our pedals are from a company called FP. They have reflectors in them made out of alloy. They're decent enough. They seem to be reasonably strong, and I've got no issues with them. The bike does use a 9-speed setup, so the lowest gear is very good for climbs, and the highest is quite good for a top speed of around about 32 to 31 kilometers per hour pedaling. Now, it's from a company called L2, and it's the A5, this model. We get the 9 speeds. Now, out of the box, my derailleur here was a little out of alignment, so it took a little bit of tweaking to get those gears to all align properly. It's no fault of Eskute, it's just how it was out of the box. It must have received a bit of damage to it because there is no protector, as you can see, for the derailleur. The battery comes with 2 sets of keys. You only normally just see 1 set. And to remove it, very easy, insert the key, turn it, and that battery, which is 20 amp hours or 720 watt hours, just slots it out like so. Battery charge time is around 7 to 8 hours. There is a little status LED gauge here, so pressing that, you can see the remaining battery life. If you are charging it in the office, that's rather handy. You can at least tell whether you have it 50% charged or not. And there are little gaskets here over where the charging plug is and where the switch is on the battery itself. The bike does come with your standard bottle holder mounting point, and most of the cabling is internally routed, which does make the bike's frame look a lot cleaner. The frame's design, the welds, the paint finish are excellent, and I see no weak points with this frame. They do have a reinforcing with this step-through style frame.
It comes with lock grips, which is great to see. A lot of manufacturers do not do this at all, installing lock grips. And the levers for our brakes, now they do have a good feel to them, being hydraulic, so they just feel a lot better than those cable pull ones that I am used to. And our gear lever here, the selector for the 9 speeds, no issues with it. The handlebar height can be adjusted on this bike. You've only got just a little bit here. There's some rings that you can put on top here when you install that handlebar to bring it up a little bit. There is a little bell here because there's no buzzer included in the front headlight, which we typically see. And then our controls for the Bafang motor, very straightforward. So power on, we've got our up and down pedal assist levels. There are 5 in total. And you can cycle through the screen to see your trip and odometer, and also a button for the front headlight. I like the display here from Bafang. It is very clear, so you can see your speed, your trip, odometer, pedal assist levels, battery life all clearly, and yes, it is backlit, so you can see this when riding at night.
So what is our Polluno Pro here like to ride? I find it to be a very comfortable bike, and if your goal is to have a city bike that you have an upright riding position, very easy to get on, then really this is it. Step through frame means that getting on it is not a problem at all. And I do find the combination of that Bafang motor, 250 watts with the torque sensor, and then the speed sensor works really well. Very smooth power delivery. And then these tires from Kenda. Finally, I've got tires that actually suit the conditions I'm riding, which is on pavement on the roads, and not knobbly tires, which I am normally covering with the fat-wheeled e-bike. So this is very smooth. And the motor, this Bafang motor, I don't even hear it. Nothing at all. It's so quiet. Such a good motor. And it's got that 65 Newton meters of torque too as well. So riding position, upright and comfortable. Don't get a sore back on this at all. Plenty of room for my knees. It is a very smooth bike for cruising around like I am at the moment. Now, a little bit of rough ground that I'm riding over at the moment. You can feel that front fork, certainly better than nothing, and it gives us about 40 millimeters of travel, which isn't too bad. And for this style of bike, I think it's sufficient. It's fine. So the top speed of the bike is 25 kilometers per hour with the motor, with its assistance. Anything over those speeds, it's all on your own pedal power. So I can get it up to comfortably in the 9th gear, about 31, 32 kilometers per hour, cruising along. And again, I'm really surprised at not hearing anything out of this motor. It is so quiet. And here I am at my climb test spot. So if you haven't seen my other videos, this is about 20 degrees, this climb. Now I've got it in pedal assist level 5, and I have it in the 1st gear, and it's very easy going. So with the mid-drive motor, 65 Newton meters of torque, 250 watts, 36 volt system, not a problem. I still can't even hear that motor. I really cannot. Okay, now, just a tiny little bit with this climb. So I'm able to go up gears here because really it's that effortless. And if I turn off the motor, so I'll just put it in pedal assist level off into the 1st gear now, that's when you suddenly feel that, oh, actually this is a little bit more difficult now, but I could still climb up this steep climb in the 1st gear a lot easier than the fat-wheeled e-bikes. And now my emergency braking test. So this is from 30 kilometers per hour approximately from this white post. All right, it's made it to that column there. That's not bad at all. That puts it into a above average braking category there out of the tests I do of these e-bikes. So they're 160mm hydraulic disc brakes, and they work pretty well. They did need a bit of bedding in. I'd say approximately 20 kilometers before I got the best braking performance. That was probably just to burn off a little bit of oil residue that was on the discs. Now, the range of the Polluno Pro here is nothing short of fantastic because it's got the 20 amp hour battery. Not only that, they're using Samsung cells paired up with what is really a more efficient setup too, a mid-drive with the Bafang motor and quite a bit of torque there. I can get definitely near their claim. So their claim is about 120 kilometers or 80 miles, and I can definitely get over 100 with this. Do bear in mind though, if you do ride over 25 kilometers per hour, you're not actually using the battery at all. You're just on pedal power. But the range, because of these larger 28-inch size wheels, the 700C wheels, it was really great, fantastic. And these tires, they roll really well over the road too, compared to the fat wheel tires, which are knobbly. They have really poor rolling resistance. These ones are fantastic. So to sum it up, if you're after this style of bike, so an upright, step-through city bike, mid-drive, with brand components, I don't think you can go wrong at all with this Eskute Polluno Pro here. They have done an excellent job. So they've gone with brand components, which a lot of these brands do not do. They decide to just go with a no-name front shock, no-name brakes, but everything here has a brand name to it, which is good. And as I mentioned there, Samsung battery cells. A lot of the times we just see people using the Chinese generic no brand cells, and you really do want to go for either Samsung or LG cells because they really are the best. Not only that, you can factor in the safety side of things too with them. You don't want to have these cells catch on fire or anything like that, which could be potentially dangerous there. So braking performance, very good. Climbing performance is excellent. And overall, it really does get a thumbs up from me, this bike. It's a well-deserved one. The Polluno Pro here, a definite step up from the original Polluno that I reviewed. And thank you so much for watching this video.